anti-hauls feels like I am doing some bullying, but then I just think that I am doing my part in a very complex ecosystem. Like, I got bullied by the popular kids for years in school, and now I'm bullying multi-million-dollar brands that don't even know I exist. The circle of life, you know? Hi friends! Hi, my name is Mia, and this is my virtual vanity, a place where we both love makeup and we're quite critical of it. Listen, I really wanted to mind my business. I really did. I wanted to continue with my declutter series, be zen. But if you're not new here, you will know by this point that I am a hater. So we have to do an anti-haul before things spiral further out of hand and I have to backtrack through 2 months of trend mood posts, which I really do not want to do on principle. So grab a snack, grab a cup of tea, some adult libations if you want. Let's just get started. Urban Decay Cyber, which is their Y2K inspired collection. Now, you know how I said that Urban Decay was practicing necromancy, flirting with resurrecting the undead, doing everything they can in their power to succumb to the seductive ways of the dark arts? Not only have they played with the undead, they have gone around to dig the graves of a place that should have not been touched, the place in the shadows that none dare go forth, the early 2000s. This cyber palette is a Y2K airy type of affair. I do not understand why they called it cyber, because there is nothing cyber about it in any sort of interpretation of the inspiration, except the packaging, which I will have to say they're killing it with the packaging lately, and I'm big mad because I do not want to get this palette. Props for props are due. This palette does appeal to a certain type of consumer. It's not me. And I will give you guys pros and cons so you can, pass judgment with me, because we're all friends here, kikiing over coffee, tea, whatever you're drinking over there. Angelica Nyqvist did a review of the palette. She showed the look, and then she also showed the 2 conflicting swatch pictures that were floating around the internet. I think this is a very easy intro for someone that is light skin toned, that is the average makeup consumer, into more shifty, ethereal, topper type of shade. So if you're that person, this might work for you. They failed the assignment in that they did not match what was promised to what they came up with, despite the fact that what they came up with is arguably pretty. So one of my issues with the palette is that it has no depth in either direction. Also, Urban Decay's formula is not that great. For a heavy shimmer heavy palette, I don't find their shimmers to be that great, despite me really liking the Urban Decay Ultraviolet. This, however, is a great foray into duochromes and unusual shades for someone that doesn't know that indie brands exist or doesn't want to bother with experimenting with indie brands and would rather just grab something safe at Sephora. And by safe, I mean something that they are familiar with in terms of formula. They've seen Urban Decay around, it has a reputation, that kind of thing. However, if you are a more avid makeup consumer like I am, you are probably better off trying indies, because all of these are subtle shades, they're subtle shifts, they're satin duochromes. If you're just trying to dip your toe into colorful makeup, maybe. However, as I said, if you have a bit more experience with colorful makeup, this will leave you unsatisfied. Speaking of unsatisfied, I am very worried for the sex lives of Too Faced employees, because they keep naming everything better than sex, and I'm starting to wonder, what kind of sex are you having that it's so bad that every piece of makeup that your blasted company comes out with is better than? Because it's clear that something there is not working. Anyway, Too Faced is coming out with several new things. First one would be this $105 perfume that is called, of course, Better Than Sex. First, highly doubt it. 2, the bottle is very kitschy, but in an appealing way. Marie Antoinette-ish. The problem is that you just came out with your first perfume as a brand. You have a reputation as a brand of being hit and miss with your releases, and you have the gall to ask $100 fucking dollars? Who do you think you are? No, seriously, who do you think you are? to charge $105 on your first perfume release. Like, I do not care if this smells like angel farts and your first love's kiss. No. And the name? Cringe. And what is cringe but bullying culture reborn? Their second release is the Cinnamon Swirl palette. You know, I'm disappointed because their previous releases, while not something that appealed to me or that I could do, I could give props to for an interesting color story, you know? But then the Cinnamon Swirl thing is something that is straight out of 2017 when warm tones were all the rage. There is not a lot of originality in it, there is not a lot of variety, and I get it, maybe it is on theme because Cinnamon Swirl, whatever, but I find it kind of disappointing that they're giving us more of the same. It's going to be great for people that only wear neutrals and only wear browns, and you know, I'm happy that they get more stuff to play with. It's just, it seems like Too Faced failed the assignment when they could have gone much more varied in their tones and still had done something neutral but more interesting than. Speaking of interesting, Huda Beauty is yet again personally attacking me. Listen, in these anti-hauls, I try to talk about a couple of things. I try to talk about makeup that I want but I know I shouldn't be buying because I don't want to be 100% a hater. I also want to be my own voice of reason and yours, hopefully, as well. And I also talk about things that are mediocre. That's why I'm trying to like whittle down the list so I don't hate on every single release, because hating on every single release would be a sign that I am tired of releases, not necessarily that the releases themselves are bad, and there's a difference. So these Huda Obsessions, the Wild Obsessions, I am loving, I am in love. However, I need a new palette. Like I need a kick in the teeth. And I generally love Huda's formula. Like even the palettes that people said were subpar, I have loved because I really like how she does mattes, how she does shimmers even at her most mediocre. And these are beautiful color stories, and I want to buy at least 3 of them, but I also have to consider the size of my collection and if I can dupe them out, because for such tiny palettes they are relatively affordable. But you know what's more affordable? Shopping my stash for dupes, because that costs $0. Listen, I have no reason for anti-hauling these aside from the fact that I know I shouldn't be buying them, because I think that these are interesting color stories. Almost all of them except the warm toned one, which again we've seen 100 times before, but those sell well, so I can't really blame Huda for you know, putting out another warm toned palette. What I would suggest you do though is wait for reviews for them before impulsively buying because they're pretty, because as I said, her formula can be hit and miss. And unless you're like me, where Huda does no wrong in terms of eyeshadow formula for you, you may be disappointed. Natasha Denona, we've got 2 releases to talk about. There's this mini Xenon palette. I love the name, very futuristic, very sci-fi. I think it's a chemical element as well, right? Like a rare gas, maybe? I don't remember. Anyway, this is a monochromatic gray to black palette. Why am I anti-hauling this is because I think that this is a monochromatic scheme that not even many neutral lovers use, or even colorful makeup lovers. This is a scheme for a smoky eye. And unless you're living your best goth, emo, or another aesthetic that's set in the depths of darkness of the heart, I doubt you're using those shades every day. And for something that you will not be using over and over and over again, even for a mini, it's a lot of money. It's $25 for 5 shades that you may not be using a lot. And if you're looking for a good black or a good white, by the gods, there's plenty out there in single pan form. You don't need to give Natasha $25 of your money. Also, and I know I will be just put in the corner and a gun drawn on me for this, and then I will ask you, are we flirting or are we fighting? Because like the energy between us is kind of sus, you know. Anyway, I am probably gonna get a lot of flack for saying this, but I think Natasha Denona's formula is overhyped and overpriced. I enjoy the palettes that I got from her, but I don't feel that they're worth the full price. So your mileage may vary, but frankly, I would not be paying full price even for a mini palette of hers for a smoky eye eyeshadow palette. Unless you're doing smoky eyes every day, and then it will be good for you. But then she's coming out with this mini retro palette, which these are my shades. These are my colors, and I want it. This is in her midi format, and it's $65. But again, I have another $65 palette from her, and it's not worth it for me. If you're a big fan of her formula and you're a big fan of pinks, this might be the thing for you. But $65 for an all pink palette in different shades is still quite a bit of money. And if these are your tones, you might want to consider if you already have some like these in your collection. If you don't, or if you want to treat yourself, then sure. Speaking of expensive, Pat McGrath Utopian, which got a lot of flack for being too similar to all of her other palettes, but I have found that people in general love it. Such as my friend Mariam. I saw Kaki and Amanda Z do a collab and they loved it as well. It's just, it's a lot of money for colored sparkly dust. And I know a lot of people that say that Pat McGrath formula is unmatched, but I played with a friend's palette and I swatched it in store, and I don't think they're that special. Like, it's very beautiful, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, this is still $125 of colored dust. Are you going to use it often enough, or is it a vanity or a collector's purchase? Again, with stuff that is so expensive, you really have to consider, are you impulse purchasing it, or are you trying to fill a certain need in your collection? Is it, if it's the need to have all Pat McGrath palettes, or if it's brand loyalty, you know, then that's all good, that's valid, but you have to be aware of why you are purchasing things. Listen, I told myself that I wasn't going to talk about this man's products or his controversies, because frankly, I'm tired of this endless cycle of him baiting us into talking about him by being a shit stain of a human being. But I actually think that this release and its theming, the Jeffree Star Pink Religion palette and collection, has a theme that is making me think of how we view these things. Because on one hand, if I viewed something like this with motifs from another culture that is foreign to mine, I would have a bit of a white savior, I would say, jump in me to be like, why are you using things that aren't yours when these are important things to other people? But also, Catholic and Orthodox religious imagery is also important to many people that may not be, you know, bigots or bad people or people that gave others religious trauma. There are people out there who are doing their best to be good Christians in the proper sense of the term, and they have to deal with such imagery being fetishized. And I don't think that's right either. I think that we should give enough respect to images and motifs that people find sacred, even if we personally have a distaste for the religion that they're part of. Because I know that a lot of people, myself included, have had some sort of religious trauma or bad experiences with religion and the church, but that doesn't mean that we can twist elements that are sacred for some people for commercial gain, like Jeffree is doing. On the other hand, the Christian church in particular has done a lot of evil things to the LGBTQ plus community, and there is also a narrative about taking what was once trying to oppress you and twisting it for your own empowerment. But frankly, I don't think this is what Jeffree is doing. I think he's trying to be edgy again, and I don't think that using religious imagery of any type for edginess or self-empowerment or self-discovery is enough of a reason to go around putting it on a palette. Like, I don't know, what do you guys think? I have such conflicting feelings about this. A very interesting cultural clash type of thing is this Etude House Mint Choco collection or palette. So you've got this neutral palette with a hint of mint. Literally a hint of mint. It's still quite neutral, I would say. It's not like one of those flashy, powerful greens. A lot of comments on the trend mood were, oh, this is so boring. What are they thinking? Who's gonna buy this? Blah, 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 blah. Wasted theme. But then people in the Asian community piped up and said, no, actually, this is what people wear here, and it's actually very on trend and it's selling very well, and not everything has to be for you guys. Etude House is an Asian brand and they make makeup for us, not for you. And that was so fascinating to me. Like, I always try to remember that brands do not put up this stuff for nothing. They always have a target audience. These things do not happen without market research, market surveys, the image of their consumer. And like, this was a very powerful learning lesson, I think, for a lot of people, that there is a world of makeup beyond their own, beyond their aesthetic, beyond what they see in their country, and even beyond what they see on their continent. Very interesting. Obviously not for me, but I have been really been having so much fun following Asian makeup trends and Asian new makeup releases. It's refreshing and really inspiring to go away a bit from you know, Western TikTok and Western Instagram and beauty YouTube, and I do recommend it if you're looking for something fresh, something new. Whoever shills the new $60-something Chantecaille single shadows cannot be trusted, and I will immediately lose respect for them as a YouTuber. You cannot tell me that any type, any formula of colored dust is worth $60. Absolutely not. There is no excuse for charging $60 for a single eyeshadow. I do not care that they're donating an undisclosed, mind you, amount to whatever animal preservation foundation. If you care so much about the animals, donate yourself. Go donate. Do not use them as an excuse to buy a $60 eyeshadow, because this company only wants your money. And if they really cared about the animals, they wouldn't necessarily charge you $60 for the privilege of them maybe donating $1 of it to an animal organization. Colourpop came out with a slew of things, and I will have to admit that despite the fact that the frequency of their releases is still abhorrent and incredibly annoying, the things that they have come out lately have been refreshing. Interesting. I can objectively look at some of these releases and be like, yeah, I get it, they're cute. I'm tired of Colourpop personally, but objectively, I don't really have a reason to anti-haul them. However, this whole It's a Mood 45 or 30 pan, one of those big palettes, is bizarre to me in both concept and execution. What does a random array of colors mean? A mood? What mood? What do you mean it's a mood? I mean, it kind of looks like they just slapped whatever name on the palette, which, fine, but you know, slapping internet slang on a palette doesn't make it a good concept. Also, this is quite a random assortment of colors and not necessarily the most appealing color scheme, at least to me. It's just another cash grab, and I'm kind of disappointed because they were on such a good trajectory with all of their new releases, and suddenly they're back to recycling whatever old shades they had. It's sad. From the category capitalist hell, Makeup Revolution is collabing with a cereal brand. I don't think I have to go into detail about how ridiculous this is, but buying a makeup palette is not going to recapture the taste of your childhood. And also, these are ugly. These look like Claire's makeup. I get being into cutesy stuff, but this is not cutesy. This is Makeup Revolution just not giving a shit about the design and preying on your nostalgia. Also, they're having a collaboration with DC, and that Joker palette makes me want to vomit. I despise this cash grab, mainly because everything feels very random. Very, very random, and it's such a pity because every time a makeup brand, you know, tries to collab with Marvel or DC, they never give enough attention to the products, and these honestly just look cheap as all hell. Makeup Revolution is hit or miss, has always been hit or miss with every product. I have tried a lot of it over the years. They're a great brand for people that live in Europe and want more accessible makeup. Also, people hate on them for duping stuff, but you know what? Not everyone has access to American makeup brands, so they couldn't buy the original even if they wanted to. I could make a whole video about leave Makeup Revolution alone, but this ain't it. This is another cash grab. These look poor quality, these look cheap. You're better off buying stickers and finding a new favorite cereal brand. Speaking of collections, Morphe is collaborating with Coca-Cola again. They are doing a Cherry Coke inspired palette. Cherry Coke tastes like what I would imagine vomit would taste after you chugged a whole bottle of cough syrup. Cherry Coke tastes like I took all of my dreams and left them out to rot in the sun. Cherry Coke tastes like being a disappointment to my parents and bringing shame to my family. I hate Cherry Coke even more so than I hate Vanilla Coke. Vanilla Coke is passable. Cherry Coke is from the devil. Anyway, I don't think you came here to hear my rant about how disgusting Cherry Coke is. Everyone was saying that this looks like Too Faced because of the tin, and I get it. But Too Faced doesn't own the rights to make tin palettes. It's a rectangle with rectangular patterns in a tin. Plenty of brands did it besides Too Faced being the most popular. Like, Morphe is allowed to use a goddamn makeup tin, okay? The color scheme is interesting, even if it's just one tone, one beat. I'm just mad because Cherry Coke is disgusting. I have no other reason. Cherry Coke is disgusting, that's it. Violet Voss is collaborating with Care Bears, and it feels like they're desperately trying to stay relevant. I want them to hire a new designer. I just want them to just hire someone that knows what the fuck they're doing with that packaging. Because there is no excuse for all of their packaging looking like baby's Tumblr edits. Just please hire someone competent. Anyway, this Care Bears collection, random color story, just a rainbow with like a shadow extra. Absolutely boring. Why are they collaborating with the Care Bears? Why are they collaborating with a children's cartoon, like a literal toddler's cartoon, when the bears weren't even wearing makeup? Like, it's not even a glitzy glam type of show. Why are you trying to profit off and make makeup of bears? Please, enough with the nostalgia makeup. I'm done. Fenty is coming out with another palette, and it's a rosy toned to neutral toned palette. I think this is a good release for them. I don't think this is a good release for us. And let me explain why. I feel that they did need a neutral palette in their array of eyeshadow selections. I don't feel it's worth it because you can find better eyeshadow formulas than Fenty at the same price. Also, Fenty is not great at eyeshadow. They do face products great. I love their skincare. I love the lip products. Exactly, Grandpa. See, even Grandpa says that Fenty is not worth it for eyeshadow stuff. Maybe they have improved their formula. I don't know. If they have improved their formula, this would be great for someone that uses these tones on the daily, on the regular. Otherwise, I don't really see much use for this palette. If you have a bigger collection of neutrals, of rosy tone neutrals, of true neutrals, I don't think you need this even if you do wear neutrals on the regular. MAC is personally attacking me and my aesthetic with this Tempting Fate collection. God, I love it. It could step on me. It inspires me, but I already have these tones 100 times over. And you know what pisses me off? Macromania sometimes puts such a crazy overcharge on palettes that it's stupid. For the MAC Botanical Thingy palette, Macromania charged 1.7 times the price, almost double. You are forcing my hand to not shop in your store. You're forcing my hand to import it from somewhere else because with the shipping and the import fees, it would still be cheaper. So I have a bone to pick with MAC at the moment, especially their eyeshadow prices. And I'm sure that this will be overpriced as all hell again here, which makes me mad, but it is what it is. However, as an aesthetic, it's very beautiful. I feel that MAC understood the assignment in both theming, tonality, packaging. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I'm anti-hauling it though because I already have those tones. I can DIY with some stickers or painting it myself, or a museum postcard or something, a magnetic palette, and then dupe the vibes, something like that. I just don't really need this, no matter how beautiful it is, and I have to learn and continuously learn that I can admire beautiful things without owning them. Like I admire beautiful flowers in the park without feeling the need to pick them and bring them home. You can admire beautiful things and be inspired by them without owning them. Big note to self. Okay, I think we're done for this video, for this little anti-haul. Please let me know in the comments down below what you are anti-hauling it, what you are picking up, what you think of these new releases. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to have a wonderful evening, morning, second breakfast, lunch, or whatever it is you're from. Bye!